Okay, good morning, Boker Tov. Welcome back. We did have a cutout of our feed, so we're going to just do a quick recap. We're talking about how to get our friends through the door. This is the Rabbi and the Skeptic. It's a Shul orientation course. What will it take to bring our friends back in the door or into the door of the Shul? You know, they got 3 homes. They're living a good life in the country club. They've never been to a store in the past 5 years because of Amazon Prime now. So Instacart is pretty good too, by the way. How do we inspire our friends to come in the door? So Rob is saying that the way to do it is by telling them that you always plan ahead in your life. You plan from high school to college, college to summer vacation to your next job to your promotion to your next home, to your retirement. You're always planning ahead. But what exact planning have you done to where we go from here? Now, we've learned before the law of the conservation of energy, the Newton's third law, that energy is never lost. Life doesn't just terminate. There's no such thing as energy just terminating. It doesn't happen. It changes form. So now if you're a fool and you think that what you don't see doesn't exist, then you're just a fool. But if you're a thinker, if you have a seichel, you understand that just because you don't see something, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means that the rules of the game changed. And that's why when we die, we go into another platform, another spiritual reality. Just like love or wisdom is real, even though you can't see it, touch it, or taste it, doesn't mean it's not real. Of course, it's real. It's very real. So too with where we go after we die is that we do face God. We become spiritual beings. And how are you planning for that? So Rob is suggesting that you should plan ahead and you should prepare for that kind of inevitability. And now is the time to plan for that.
That would induce people to come.
Marty is skeptical about this. Why are you skeptical about this approach?
Because I think if you're not facing an imminent threat of morbidity or mortality, you don't think that way. You think.
So you're saying you agree that in the case of a crisis, it's good.
I think if there's an imminent threat of
health, war,
morbidity, so I could be dying. I'm very ill, something like that.
Then you can certainly motivate them.
Then they're motivated.
But if they're not facing an imminent crisis,
they're 70 years old. They're living high on the hog.
But Rob did point out that the closer they reach to, that age, the more funerals of their peers that they attend, the more it becomes a reality. But so you're saying it's not urgent.
I don't.
You can't buy into that. So what else is another messaging that we can give?
I agree. It's not just but I agree with your point. Personally, even since I tell you honestly, since I was about 17, 18 years old, so when my grandfather passed away, I also believe that's when I really started to believe that we're energy, and energy does not get destroyed. It's always just created in another form. So I believe, because he had so much energy and it's an influence on me, I believe the spirit.
Okay, great. So you're into.
I believe it personally, but I'm saying for other. I don't know.
Let me expand on what I've said. It's not just older people who begin to think about their own mortality, but even in one's younger life, a doctor can say to you, "I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do." A lawyer can say to you in a legal dispute, "I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do." Your banker can say, financial crisis, "I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do." But God never says, "I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do." There's always the opportunity to
atone, repent,
to
repair,
repent, and to just embrace and be embraced.
Some people will use that as a negative. They'll say, "Okay, so if there's always a chance, then I'll wait." Why now?
That's true.
I come with a different approach. This is my approach. Now, you talk about the future, and maybe I agree with you, Rob, and I agree with you, Marty. I agree with your point about telling people to focus on the future, and I agree with Marty that will work for some people, but not for all people. My approach, and you tell me if you think it's going to work or not, is to tell people to focus on the here and now instead of just on the future. And that is, okay, so you take such great care of your body, but what care do you take of your soul? Do you think you have a soul? I mean, I don't think it's that complicated for a person to realize that there's something in them which gives them life, and that soul is living. It needs sustenance. So I say to people, why don't you learn about what your soul's needs are? And if you think that you can ignore your soul, good morning, Lauren and Winston. If you think you can ignore your soul, then you'll notice that the hollow feeling, the emptiness, the sadness, the melancholy, the depression, the isolation, the anxiety, the futility that you might be feeling, that gnawing feeling on the inside, when you have all the food and all the comforts and all the pillows and sofas that you could need, but you're on the inside, you're feeling vulnerable, that is the voice of your soul crying out for nourishment.
But some people will say, you nourish your soul by coming into Shul and Dovid. I nourish my soul because I write a check to the Shul. I write a check to the food pantry. I pass somebody on the street who has a sign and I give $10. That's how I nourish my soul. I'm a good person.
Is that enough?
How do you respond to that?
I think it's a good start. I think it's a great start. Definitely worth better than nothing. It's good. It's a good start. If you're going to support at least spiritual needs, then that's better than going cold turkey and doing nothing. But at the same time, I think that just like you would spare no expense to heal your body, you wouldn't say that same thing about your body. You wouldn't say, well, I go to my doctor's for a checkup once every 5 years, right? And I only do what insurance covers. That's it. But I'm not going to do more than that, right? So you'll say, look, I mean, okay, but you're talking about yourself here. You're talking about your own happiness. In other words, when you become conscious of the fact that there's more to you than meets the eye, when you become conscious and you really make a list of all the things, all the parts of you that you can see and all the parts of you that you can't see, if you literally have to make a list, draw a line down a piece of paper, and on the one side, write the parts of you that you can see and the parts of you that you can't see, you realize there's a lot of you that you can't see. And that's all part of your soul. And when you really look at that list, you're like, how am I nurturing this part of me? My happiness, my relationships, my, my sense of inner peace. And there is where I encourage people to say, look, your soul is a piece of God. And unless you nourish your piece of God with godliness, you're going to be skirting its needs. You're going to be neglecting it. It's soul abuse. You ever had soul abuse? Do you think people would buy into that? Not?
I think you have to be motivated to start with buying. I buy into it. Rob buys into it. I think you need something to.
Well, there's another.
Some spark to wake you up.
You need a spark,
You need
like a kick in the tuchus.
Kick somewhere. Either good or bad. Right. Either good.
Because we have another approach. Another approach is where you build a shul that's so vibrant and dynamic that people just are drawn to it for social reasons, because their friends are being honored. Yeah, and they stumble upon.
That I like.
Right? That's another way where the leadership of the show is so dynamic, is so charismatic, that they're just drawn in to private conversations, to meaningful conversations, to personal relationships through whether it's an event, whether it's an interesting speaker, whether it's an interesting sometimes people will say, oh, there's so much going on in that place over there. I hear so many people are going there. They have FOMO. You know what FOMO is? Fear of missing out. Then they want to join in themselves. Right? So that's another approach. It's a completely different way of doing things. We try here at Chabad to do both straddle both lanes. I mean, I'm trying to constantly be out there, but at the same time, we're trying to draw them in to meaningful and professional and diverse programming as well. But help me out of here. What am I missing? Is there more? Is there more that we can say to them? If you're the skeptic, what would you say? You're effectively telling me right now, the rabbi, it doesn't talk to me. Is that what you're saying? What I said to you about the soul doesn't talk to you? So you can't. So planning for the future.
You're preaching to the choir here.
Yeah, but stand in the shoes of your friends.
To Abe Schwartz out there, who's one time a year Jew or twice time a year.
What is their inhibition? What is their reservation? Is it that they're afraid of becoming too religious? Are they afraid? What are they afraid of? Is there a fear?
I don't think it's.
I don't need it.
Is it the fear of the unknown?
No, I don't think so. I think I don't need it. I agree with Rabbi.
It's I don't need it?
I don't need it. Everything is.
Is that what they're thinking?
Rabbi, everything is going good. Everything is going
financially
good.
sound. I'm playing golf and I'm enjoying it.
Right.
Life is good.
I do nice things. I'm on the Mirasol Foundation board. I get, what am I going to get by going to Shul that I don't already have? What am I going to get?
And the other part is I go there and I don't understand the thing that's.
Okay, so that's what I'm climbing into the mindset. So if the service was all in English, would they come?
I think a combination.
Someone told me that they went to a Reform temple recently, and everything was in English, and they hated it. Oh, I thought it was interesting.
I've never been to a Reform congregation.
But that's what this person told me.
I've never heard.
And this person said, I'm not religious. I'm not religious. I barely read Hebrew. But for me, it was sacrilegious. What?
And that's a barrier
Oh,
to.
the mechitza.
The mechitza is a barrier.
Maureen would come more.
Now, one second. In the country club, is there a men's girl room and a women's girl room or no?
No.
Oh, then you must be a low-end club.
Well, it is.
Because in the higher-end clubs, they have men's girl rooms.
Not anymore, not in this day and age.
In Old Palm, they have it.
No,
Well, that's why it's called old.
Really?
I think you hit the nail on the head before with the FOMO. And that is that if there's comfort in numbers, nobody wants to be the guy. It's like somebody says, oh, I just went to the best restaurant in the world. Oh, well, I'm going to make a reservation tomorrow. Oh, I just saw the best movie in the world. I'm going next week. So if people said, we had the best time at Chabad yesterday, we did this, we did that, that person will come in. Once they come in the door and they say, oh, look, there's Adrian, he looks like me. There's Marty, he lives near me. There's Rob, I'm like him. Then all of a sudden they feel comfortable. Otherwise, all they see is the black hat, the beard, and they say, that's these guys, that's not me.
Mm.
So you need to get them in the door. How do you get them in the door? You got to make it. You got to make it so they want to come in.
But I go back to again, the mix of Hebrew and English, as opposed to I've never heard of, and I had gone to a Reformed congregation for 40 years. I've never been to one where there's no Hebrew.
Where there's no what?
There's no Hebrew prayer.
That's what this person told me. I was very surprised.
Maybe it's
Corey says they're afraid you'll convince them to change their comfortable lifestyles.
I don't think that bothers people. Hebrew, not Hebrew. You know what? Well, people will sit. They'll read the English.
No, but I think it's part of it. For me, it is. I think it's part of it. I know that, and I know my wife can read Hebrew very well, and she knows it, and yet she would prefer some conversation as well.
So what do we have to do?
The Hebrew is translated, so the person wants to understand.
No, I understand, but
or just stop in some.
I think another problem is that we live in a society today where everything comes easy. Everything in our society comes easy today. You don't even have to read a book today. Who reads a book? You just do an audio book. You watch a video. You listen to a podcast. But I think that effort today is few and far between. To correct me if I'm wrong. Okay.
I agree, but and fast.
Everything's fast.
That's the problem.
If the website doesn't load in 2 seconds, I'm out of here. Right? I can't afford a call waiting. Somebody, getting customer service being put on hold. People flip out. They can't handle it anymore.
I'll be honest. I don't want to offend you, but it's when
it's his generation you're talking about.
I was used to a certain amount of time and speed for a service. Then I come here and I hear Speedy Gonzalez here. I said, this is great. You know what? This is terrific. Now he does the Shema. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to have to shave pretty soon. It's taking, because I've been accustomed to the speed. The same with this. If somebody told you 20 years ago, you can communicate with someone, but it'll take you 2 or 3 minutes.
Dial-up internet.
Wow. Now, if you
AOL,
can't
right?
now if you can't get in 5 seconds, you're impatient. So I think timing. Nobody wants to come here at 9:30 instead till 1:45 on the Shabbos.
So if we could do the service in 15 minutes, we'd probably be doing better.
If you could do it in an hour.
How about a drive-through?
A drive-through on Shabbos.
A drive-through service. Put a left arm, right arm to fill in. Next.
If a person doesn't have a need or doesn't feel the need, let's say, the person can stay at home, whether it's Shabbat or any day, and take 10 minutes for himself to take a Siddur or a Psalms book and concentrate on that and relate spiritually with his soul and the Creator. So it's not about coming to the synagogue, I think, and that could be used as an excuse. I said, no, I don't want to go. I don't like the people. I do like it's too fast or too slow or the language. So those could be worked as an excuse for the person. Now, the root of the thing is how do you put the seed in a person that doesn't have the sensibility to understand that if he's doing okay in his life, there is a reason for that. Somebody's helping him. Something is helping him to get that pleasure. If somebody doesn't have a good life now, there's also somewhere that he could relate and ask for a better health, a better parnasa, a better whatever. So whether a person has everything, because you mentioned the example that everybody's fine financially, and maybe that's not the case. But I understand the population of the area, maybe that's the same. But everybody needs something. Everybody's lacking something, whether it's health or spiritually, he has a need, as you described. There's a hole in somewhere that doesn't matter how many sofas you have, you still feel uncomfortable. So the point is to address that in the person, the people.
You know, I want to take it one step further, and I got to wrap it up over here, but I want to also rebrand it like this. I think people don't like to think of themselves as needy, to what you're saying. You're saying everybody has a need, right? But people feel vulnerable exposing that need. They don't want to say, like I'm going to say something which might be a little dramatic now, okay? I never thought of it this way, but I'm going to put it this way. Shul is for the weak. Do you think that there's a perception out there that religion is for the weak, for the needy, and nobody wants to be perceived as needy? Now, if we could rebrand the prayer, the service, not as begging, because nobody wants to beg, and I think that everybody thinks of prayer as begging for stuff, and I will teach us till I'm blue in the face that prayer is not about praising an insecure God so that we can get stuff from him. Prayer is about affirmations for health and consciousness. Okay, if we can maybe rebrand the service, not for the weak and the vulnerable and the needy, but for the strong and the confident and for the healthy, I think we might be making progress. How does that sound?
And also to be thankful for everything we have. So on the same.
Yeah, but think about it. Think about the guy that goes to Shul. Might be perceived as the nerd. He might be perceived as the weak. Oh, you're not going to the golf course. You're not going to the member guest whatever because you have to be in Shul, right? Because somehow you're needy. But I think that needs to be rebranded. We need to go on a marketing blitz and change the perception of Jewish spirituality, because I think right now it's a little pathetic. Let's see the comments coming in. Corey, Dovid, once you get them in the door here at PBG Chabad, good chance you got them. Okay, thank you. They might also believe once they walk into Chabad, it will cost them money. Okay, well, where can you walk in the door where it won't cost you money? I mean, tell me one place in the world. I mean, I don't know. Is there a place in the world? Like, do you ever walk into a store and say, oh my God, I wasn't expecting you to charge me for that lunch. I can't imagine. Who was born yesterday? Terry, maybe there were a perception. Oh, hey, look. What was that?
In Europe, it's paid toilets.
Yeah, you had to pay for the bathroom. In Mexico, there was actually a sign for which kind of bathroom you needed. Okay, there was a sign for Terry. Maybe there might be a perception that Shul is for the weekend. Also, with all due respect, most people don't want to feel like they're being manipulated. I like your new idea. Okay, so I really am developing a new idea here. I'm trying to rebrand. I'm in summer season right now, so I'm trying to redirect. Where are we going? We've learned the Tanya. We've learned the gates of trust. I'm trying to reorient myself in a new direction entirely. I'm trying to figure it out. That's really what I'm doing with you here, guys, right now. I'm trying to figure out how do we get the masses in the door? What's it going to take? Let's keep this conversation going, all right? Let's see what we can do with it, because I have to go. I've got to speak to someone right now.
And I also think we've talked about music.
Music. Yes, I agree with you, actually. I'm going to tell you about that in a second. All right, guys, thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow, God willing.
Bye-bye.
I just want you to know, yeah.